There are a lot of hated Siege streamers, with most of them retiring from the internet, but some of these Siege streamers are able to go from hated to being the most loved Siege streamers in the game. So in today's video, I'll be going over 5 Siege streamers who went from hated to loved, the first of which being the most controversial on this list, which is Dripbulin. Dripbulin, otherwise known as Yardi, is a streamer with a lot of controversy from his past, but somehow he's been able to find the spotlight again. It all started when he would start his pro career. At first, he was a good competitive player, but after playing at a high level for some time, he'd find himself getting dropped from team after team after team. The worst of which, though, was when he got dropped from 92 Dream Team. 92 Dream Team wasn't an official pro organization like the rest of his career, so how was him getting dropped from this team the worst of all of the 4 times that he got dropped from an organization? Well, it's not about the team he got dropped from, but about why he was dropped in the first place. You see, Yardi would go on to say some questionable things during a ranked match.
Fuck, you're a stupid fucking nigger.
Wow.
I'm not playing with him, he just throws.
Statements like these would start to surface on his time playing for 92 Dream Team, and he had no choice but to respond. But instead of doubling down or making things worse, he did the best thing possible for his image. He gave a sincere apology. In this post, he reads, "Hello, my name is Drip, also known as Yardi. I am currently a Pro League player for 92 Dream Team. I am writing this regarding my past, and I would like to confront these issues head on and formally apologize not only to those I offended, but the community as well. As many of you know, these are audio clips of me saying very vile, disgusting things. These clips are not only embarrassingly awful, but they make me sick to my stomach listening to myself say these things. I'm embarrassed by these videos and want to publicly apologize from the bottom of my heart. I am sorry. And over the last year, I have worked to better myself as a person. I believe in that time period, I developed and matured as a person. I have changed, and anyone that I am close with can vouch for me. I am young and still taking life head on, and although that does not justify anything I have done in the past, I want to say that every day I work to better myself as a player, but most importantly, as a human being. I want to end this on a positive note and thank all the supporters of 92 Dream Team. The kind words and support motivate me to be the best person that I can be. If you do not accept this apology, I 100% understand, as my actions do have consequences. All I ask is that you do not associate my past behavior with my teammates. My teammates are some of the most genuine, kind, and honest people around, and I thank them for helping me through this journey. I ask that all of you please try and forgive me and allow me to prove that I have changed. Thank you, Adam." If you pair this apology and his time away from the competitive scene after he and 92 Dream Team split apart, Yardi had a lot of time to think on who he was and the man he wanted to become, which is why last year he would make the greatest shift of all. He'd completely put the brakes on any attempt of making a pro career and fully go into content creation. When he started posting on TikTok, things would start going really well for him. He now sits well over 200,000 followers and makes news content for the game.
Breaking news, Stompin could be joining his first Pro League team, and it could be a European Pro League team. This story is absolutely crazy. Let's talk about it. So the other day on jynxzi's stream, Stompin and jynxzi were playing, and Stompin mentioned that he had a Pro League offer from Fnatic. Now, I can confirm that this is true in case you don't know who Fnatic is. Fnatic is one of the best European teams in the world.
Along with that, he still makes funny content too, and a silly jester of the competitive scene on Twitter. Most people who have hated Yardi have either forgot he exists or have learned to tolerate him for the better, just becoming the exact same story for the next content creator on this list, who is Get Flanked. Now, unlike Yardi, Get Flanked's drama was a lot more swept under the rug. If you watching this didn't even know that Get Flanked was hated, then that's exactly what I'm talking about, because Ubisoft and Get Flanked himself have tried their hardest to keep this a secret. If you want to know what I mean, let's rewind around half a decade. Here you'll find the Hot Breach podcast, a podcast about anything Siege related, run by Rogue9, his friend, and of course, Get Flanked. At first, everything with this podcast was great and there was zero drama. That was until Ubisoft invited them out to record a podcast in their Ubisoft studio. Here, a team of Ubisoft employees would oversee them to ensure that the podcast would run smoothly. But this is where everything would fall apart. What Rogue9 didn't know was that the head of the event on the Ubisoft side was a girl he had just been rejected by. Get Flanked, sensing this, used this opportunity to trash talk Rogue9 to make himself look better. This allowed Get Flanked to weasel himself to get a job opportunity at Ubisoft, which he still, by the way, works at today. If screwing Rogue9 over and embarrassing him the entire event wasn't enough though, he went out of his way to badmouth Rogue9 so bad that Rogue would get kicked off of his own podcast and blacklisted from Ubisoft, which subsequently ended Rogue9's career on YouTube as well. But all of this was years ago, and with some time off, Get Flanked has since returned to content, and it seemed like even though he returned, no one's memories of what he did seem to return with him. All of the comments on his recent videos since he's made his return are completely positive, and it seems that time really does heal all wounds. In this case, the content creator in question didn't really earn the love he's gained, but a content creator that's still trying to earn their love back is the next creator on this list, who is Shock. Now, Shock's story as to why he's hated isn't because of his actions, but mainly because of his words, specifically his words on Twitter. You see, a few seasons ago, cheating for Siege was at an all-time high. Any PC lobby you went to had more cheaters than legit players in them. It was terrible to play the game, and Shock was frustrated. He would more than occasionally rant on his Twitter account, saying things like, Ranked 2.0 has got to be the worst shit of all time, or so PC has lost 50% of its player base and almost all the top YouTubers have come out and said they can barely stand to play the game, their viewership is declining, and they're working on switching game. But hey, I'm the bad guy for saying all of this a few weeks early. But it was complaints like these, after quitting the game entirely, that made the community upset, because it's one thing to criticize a game that you play that makes you money, but once Shock left to the finals, it wasn't the case. Shock left Siege for a number of reasons, but namely the cheaters were a big issue. When he left and he kept speaking on the state of the game, the community started to turn on him. Every fan, player, and content creator started to hate him for what he was saying, until he was eventually ostracized from the community itself. The finals, though, made a similar plummet like old Siege, and the views for Shock over there also dried up. So recently, Shock has made the announcement that he's returning to Siege. Because of this, Shock has gotten a lot of positive comments, and it seemed that the community has missed him regardless of the petty Twitter drama that happened before. However, with this next streamer, they're so loved now that no one even remembers how hated they used to be. This streamer is Bolo. Now, as many of you know him now, Bolo is one of the most loved streamers of all time. He has a social media career, a pro career, and just became a father. But under all of that was a controversial history where half of the community hated him. But why? Well, when Bolo started making content for the game was very new. So new, in fact, that everyone was still playing the game like a bot. If you got the average pro league team back then against the average champion stack now, the average group of champions would destroy people from back then. This is because no one in the game truly had good mechanics yet. Bolo was the first person to come into the game that showed off just how good of mechanics you can truly have while playing Rainbow Six Siege. His mechanics were so good, in fact, that a lot of people, including pros, thought he was cheating.
You're muted. Right?
Yeah, okay. And he just randomly shot through the garage, dude. Literally, he shot at one spot, he completely flicked to the other side of the garage and shot and killed me. Blowo is not, this kid's not legit.
No, drone, sprint on in with the call out of they're in church, and so he just sprints through. Nope, I don't even care if he's just gonna go use this in a meme video. I'm gonna report Bolo every single f***ing time I ever play him.
These accusations would carry throughout most of his career online and through his ranked clips, but would be completely snuffed once he turned 18. This is because a pro league organization, TSM, would pick him up and make him play on the main stage live in front of thousands of people. When they did this, he was put on a PC that wasn't his and was monitored for cheats. So if Bolo did well, everyone would know that he wasn't a cheater. So did Bolo do well? Absolutely. Bolo, in fact, went on to win the season invitational for TSM and would solidify himself as one of the better pro league players the industry had ever seen. Once the cheating accusations had been dropped, most people came around to love Bolo, not only for how good he was, but for his calming and relaxed personality and YouTube videos. Someone who has almost the exact same story as Bolo is the last streamer on this list who went from hated to loved, which is Spoit. Now, just like Bolo, Spoit came into the scene as a child prodigy. He hit global elite on CSGO before he had even turned 15 years old, and had been falsely banned from underage Siege leagues for cheating when he never was. That's just how good Spoit was at a young age. It was a little after this point that Spoit would start to upload content to YouTube, and just like Bolo, at first Spoit gained a lot of traction for his skill, but with views come negative attention. Specifically for Spoit, it came as cheating allegations. Cheating allegations that actually had some solid ground. You see, it wasn't wall hacks that Spoit was accused of. No, it was using a macro. A macro is a sequence of code that you can use to control recoil, and when people saw his use of the SMG-11, a lot of people thought Spoit was using a macro. Now, Spoit getting falsely banned isn't something new, so when Spoit's account got banned, no one batted an eye. No one but former pro Fox-A. In this tweet, Fox-A says, "So it's convenient that if your account gets banned, it got hacked. I see you." Naturally, his fans disagreed that his account ban was because he was cheating, saying stuff like, so you're just an idiot then, with Fox-A replying, "I've played this game longer and at a higher level than you ever have or will. If you can't tell a macro from recoil control, it's the lack of experience, so I don't blame you." If you want to see the clip that he's using as proof as Spoit's macro, here it is. Fox, seeing this clip, says the best smoke mains in the world can't control SMG recoil like this. And while this clip does look suspicious, Spoit would go on to deny ever having used a macro, and the situation would die out altogether due to lack of any true hard evidence. It also died for the same exact reason that Bolo's accusations died as well, because Spoit became a pro. Spoit would later go on to turn 18 and would sign to Team Road, where in his first season of playing with that team, they would win a major. This solidified that Spoit didn't need cheats to be good, and that he was a great great player. Spoit became even more loved when he shifted heavily into content and would solidify himself into the jynxziverse as well. Nowadays, Spoit is doing pretty well, with a lot of people loving him and his brand. Anything about cheating has completely gone out the window, and that is how Spoit went from hated to loved. But let me know what you think of these Siege streamers, and check out this next video on your screen.